Thank you again for the field hearing in Laredo. It was very productive, Mr. Cuellar. Chief, thank you for being here. Thanks for your service. I always learn something new every time I go down there. We met with the task force, and they talked about in Nuevo Laredo the gang, the cartel activity going on there between the Sinaloa and the Zeta cartels. And this was last week, predicting that the violence was going to go up. It was going to spike. And sure enough, last Friday, 23 individuals were killed in Nuevo Laredo, hung over bridges, decapitated. Just a reminder that the border is not a safe place, that we do need to secure the border. I think the thing that keeps me up at night the most would be the idea of weapons-grade uranium being smuggled from a place like Iran to Venezuela and then between a port of entry, a dirty bomb in a major city. That to me is terrifying. And yet it's not far-fetched. I think that's something that is very foreseeable. So operational control of the border is important. Last I looked, it was 44% under operational control. We have this new strategy now that scraps operational control, and now the GAO has come in to testify that this new strategy does not have performance measures. I guess I'm a little confused. We're not talking about operational control anymore, taking that off the table, and now the new strategy has no performance measures at all. How can we possibly measure whether the border is secure or not? Chief?
Yes, Congressman. We have measures right now. In other words, we're not, again, going to dismiss all of the measures or the metrics or the comparative statistics that we have done within the organization. Those continue. What we're trying to do is match those now with the strategic objectives that are outlined in this particular strategy. When you look, the scenario that you outlined is one of the primary factors in our rethinking about how we apply resources to the border. In one instance, in 2004, quite frankly, it was brute force. Right? We realized that we were getting more resources, both in terms of Border Patrol agents, we were getting fence built, we were getting technology, and so the strategy really was get everything forward. We wanted to stop the flows that were coming in. The scenario that you depict is very akin to being able to identify a needle in the haystack, if you will. Now, in order to extract the needle, and I'll use this in terms of a particular threat that you just mentioned, there's two different general approaches that you can do to get that needle. The first is having very specific intelligence, information regarding the intent and capability of the opposition, timing, to be able to surgically go into that haystack and remove it. Well, over the last 10 years or so, that really was not applicable in our border scenario. We were not getting that level of intelligence to be able to extract it that way. So the other approach that you can do to find the needle is to reduce the haystack. And so if you look at some of the shifts in our approach between strategies, 2004 was built to be able to reduce the haystack. As we have done that in terms of people coming across the border, in terms of not just the apprehensions, but the individuals, those unique individuals that make up our border environment in which we operate has changed. And so what we try to do is now leverage and try to figure out what is it going to take, and of this new strategic approach, what then are those metrics that are going to continue to carry over that we have traditionally been reporting? And in addition, what are new metrics that we haven't been reporting that really talk to more about the risk along our borders? That's why when I said earlier, it's more of a methodology than a particular metric. We want to be able to come back to the committee either in an open or a closed hearing to be able to tell you about the information and the intelligence that we're hearing, either very tactically or in a broad sense. Talk about the capabilities that CBP has to be able to show you how we are assessing risk and how we are going to minimize that risk at any given time.
I'd very much like to get that briefing. The one thing we learned also is that the human smuggling at the port of entry has gone way down. We saw 5,000 18-wheelers go through the port of entry, and they said that they rarely find humans now in the cargo. It's mostly drugs coming through. So that means they're coming through the ports of entry. And while the apprehensions have gone way down, the disturbing statistic is the OTM rate has gone way up, the others, the Mexicans. So between the port of entry is where the scenario I outlined is probably most likely to happen, I do think technology is going to be the solution to getting that under secure. Can you tell me where you are with the latest advances in technology, and what is your strategic plan to deliver technology to the border?
Well, the strategic plan really talks about optimizing capability. The first thing before we say, hey, we need 10 more of these and 15 more of these, is to take a look about what capability, what technology has been deployed over the last few years. One, are we utilizing in the right combination? I'll give you a quick example. If you take a look at Arizona, we have everything from unattended ground sensors that are implanted in the ground. We have mobile surveillance systems. We have integrated fixed towers. We have light and medium lift helicopters that are running forward-looking infrared, and we have UASs that are running payloads. That whole suite of capability is something that this organization over the last few years is just trying to figure out, how do you deploy that within the theater of operation? They're not deployed equally because they all have different capabilities. So we have to understand organizationally and within the leadership how we maximize those capabilities, and then how we shift and redeploy resources from areas that were once in areas of high threat in terms of activity levels, and redeploy those to new areas where we have seen either displacement or new emerging threats along our border.
Well, thank you. And you have an enormous challenge, and I thank you for your service. And with that, I'll yield back.